Welcome to Friday Night Firelight, presented by Mortal Up. I'm Brian Brody, your host, sponsored by Nutrient Survival at nutrientsurvival.com, and of course, Firebugs at Firebugs, that's BUGGZ.com. Well, there you go. Hello once again. I'm Brian Brody with you for another all-new version of Friday Night Firelights. Very glad to be here, to be able to hang out with you for the next 20 minutes. You know, we call them 20-minute victories. So tonight we want to talk about a concept. Surprisingly enough, these exact words, innocent until proven guilty, those words aren't even in the Constitution. But when you, a quick read of the Fifth Amendment or the 14th Amendment, what's considered due process, says that it's up to the prosecution to be able to build such a case that, at least in the mind of the jury or a judge, if that's the way, if you're a criminal defendant, you decide to go with the judge and not a jury, and whoever is hearing your case, that they're able to put forth evidence to convince either the jury or the judge beyond a reasonable doubt that you're guilty of the commission of the crime that you're sitting there with your lawyer at the table for. All right, but the innocent until proven guilty is it's supposedly a hard goal, right? That's what we need to do in this country. It's not like, who are we, like Mexico, where you're guilty until proven innocent? Maybe you can sit in a jail forever. Maybe they never formally bring the charges. Maybe you never even know who's accusing you. But in this country, even though it isn't enshrined in the Constitution, what's called verbatim, you don't see those innocent until proven guilty. We know, again, due process says, well, in fact, you are. Until your case is thrown and beyond a reasonable doubt, they go, yeah, you're guilty as sin, right? Doesn't count in this country. It's one of the things we love about living here in the States is that you have what's called a presumption of innocence. If not, people can say anything they want to about you. Now, I need to tell you about a conversation I recently had with a younger person, a person that I know no reason to throw him or her under the bus. I'll just tell you, early 20s, mid 20s, somewhere around in there. And they said to me, well, it's guilty until proven innocent. And I said, wait a minute. As I often do when I talk to 25-year-olds, I shake my head and say, what? And in the meantime, the whole time on the inside, I'm going, science. Everyone wants to go, follow the science, follow the science. Well, I am following the science. And the science now says that the human brain isn't even formed till you're like 24 or 25 years old. So the whole time they're busy telling me what their experience of life is at a quarter of a century, right? They've been here 2.5 decades. They know it all. I'm busy thinking on the inside, well, if you really knew the science, your brain isn't even firing all its cylinders yet. But please, for the love of God, tell me what you think is so important. Tell me what you think is right in that adolescent. And by adolescent, I'm not slamming. I'm just saying adolescent, not fully formed, fledgling, yearling brain, if you will. Just sticking to the science. What is it that you think is so important that you needed to tell me? Well, that we think that you're guilty until proven innocent. And I said, what? And they go, yeah, you're guilty until proven innocent. And I go, how can you believe that? You mean the inverse, right? You're innocent until proven guilty. No, we meant exactly what we said. And I go, why would you believe that? And they go, well, why would someone make it up? Why would someone say you did A or B or C or D if you didn't? There must be some truth behind it because, not in today's woke age. No one would ever say anything that wasn't truthful. So then I start to wonder, right? And it's easy now with everything in the news. You hear Russell Brand, justices on the Supreme Court, Russell Brand, all these different people that have been accused of different things, only later to be found innocent, to be acquitted. Oh, well, what about their presumption of innocence then? And there's a report today breaking on the wire that said that a Yale student accused of rape, his life was destroyed. He was found not guilty, not guilty. Jury said he didn't do it. Who am I to say whether he did or didn't? All I'm saying is the jury says he's innocent, so that's what I'm going to run with. So in this country, we're innocent until proven guilty. And they said, well, even Senator Menendez from New Jersey, don't like the guy, do I think? Maybe he took the bars of gold, he and his wife, and ran for it, envelopes of cash. And I mean, you read the indictment and it's like, holy schmoly, they're alleging that he did a lot of stuff, but even Menendez is innocent. Russell Brand is innocent until proven guilty. Judge Kavanaugh, innocent until proven guilty. Not the other way around. The Meshuggah, these ill-formed minds saying, well, why would people make it up? Why would people make it up? Now, we could blow the rest of our 15 minutes talking about why would people make up something that isn't true. Read a story the other day that said they asked a college classroom or a bunch of classrooms across a freshman level in college saying, hey, do you know anyone that cheats? And according to the report, according to the study, they just wanted to find out how prevalent cheating was, allegedly, in this particular level of a Poison Ivy League school, right? Speaking of Yale, although this test wasn't done at Yale, one of the other Poison Ivy League schools, they wanted to know, hey, how many people, how many of your peers, how many people sitting next to you, right, if you're not sitting in a cubicle, how many of these people cheat? And what they found fascinating was people were blowing in other people for cheating, not because they were cheating, but because they were their competition. They were the ones that were going to rival them for valedictorian, or they were going to rival them for the best scores in the classroom. So they threw these people's names in as cheaters, not because they were, but they thought if they could besmirch another human being that they would look better in the professor's eyes. So, but again, that's not what we're talking about. The why. Really? Try using what little brain you have. But here's what I wanted to know. Why are we so quick to think people are automatically guilty? What's happened to us to believe that people are automatically guilty of what other people say they are? Right? Pre-discovery, pre-grand jury indictment, pre-trial, pre-discovery of evidence, right? Pre-due process, proving the prosecutor's case beyond a reasonable doubt, all that. How are we so certain that other people are guilty? I think I might have a possible answer. Now, hear me out on this. I think we're guilty. And I think that's because we're guilty of this one thing in life. Because we're guilty and misery loves company, we want to throw someone out, go, oh, that guy right there, guilty as a country day is long. Oh, that girl, guilty as sin. I'm telling you, I can feel it. I make a joke all the time about how I get out of jury duty as saying, as an ex-cop, when they go to avoid war and they go, oh, would you like to sit on the jury? I go, yes. Oh, I would love to sit on the jury. And they go, wow, we're so excited to have someone willing to give up huge chunks of their life to sit on the jury. And they go, why would you? Why? That's great. Thank you. Why do you want to do it? Because I can spot guilty people like that. Objection, Your Honor. I get tossed. I ask if they validate parking. They go, look, just go, mister. I can spot guilty people at a drop of a hat. I get a gut feeling for it. I'm telling you. But why, outside of trying to get out of jury duty, why do we do that? What is it that you and I do day in and day out? Another little story to share with you. My wife brings in a potted orchid the other day. And this thing's got, right, we didn't put it in, and it just with a couple of weeks got away from us, right? So we weren't looking at this particular pot, and the roots are going crazy inside of the pot, and the orchid's really digging it. And she says to me, and I trust her and stuff like this, and she says to me, well, you know, they say that we used to have the joke in Florida. I went one time to a Home Depot and asked a nice old lady there, hey, by the way, what's the best way to grow orchids, right? I'm trying to always spritz them with water and pamper them and this and that. And she said, no, you want to grow an orchid? And I go, yes, please. And she goes, I'll never forget this, neglect is best. So the more you're neglected, the better it is for the orchid. And I thought, wow. And then I jumped full circle into looking at these root structures outside of the orchid. And Ashley taught me, she said, well, you know, there's a variation in temperature, that if you can put an orchid and there's a 15-degree variation in temperature between day and night, orchids love the challenge. They're like, is that all you brought? Is that all you're going to do to derail me? Orchids don't like to be pampered. They don't like it easy. They don't like comfort zones. They're not couch potatoes. They want you to throw the worst at them, the most vicissitudinal in terms of temperature, the most mercurial in terms of ups and downs. They want the peaks and valleys because orchids believe they can handle it no matter what. So I started thinking about it. Well, human beings are built not to be pampered, not to be couch potatoes. Human beings, look at the musculature in your body. Look at the muscles in your mind. You can't build a muscle without doing a push-up, a sit-up. You can't go for a run. You can't lift a weight. You can't do... The human body is designed not to be pampered, but to be pressured. And it's once we're pressured that we're able to grow. And it works mentally as well. Your psychological muscles. You want to lose some psychological fat or flab? Then do, we used to call them mind-ups. Most certainly you could mortal up, and that uses your psychology and your physiology, right? It uses your musculature to respond to the challenge at hand. You don't get any stronger by not adding repetition or weight, whether physically or mentally, repetition or weights. So maybe what you and I don't know, maybe we feel guilty that we don't push ourselves enough. We don't, everyone wants insurance. Everyone wants security. Everyone wants safety. The government is using it against us left and right. Well, we want our people to be safe. Yeah, sure you do, right? We want our streets to be safe. Yeah, sure you do. But maybe there's a part of us that feels guilty of giving these politicians the ability to scream, safety, safety. We want to be able to protect the people. The only thing they're interested in protecting is their own portfolios. Just look around. Suppose Mendez did anything like they said he did. That's a lot of gold bars. That's a lot of envelopes of cash. But what if you and I are guilty of not challenging ourselves enough, and we have this underlying sense of stress, anxiety, depression? Maybe we're lonely when we look in the mirror because we don't push ourselves enough. We don't challenge ourselves enough. We don't go to the risk and go, the hell with safety. Safety's got a great PR agent, but it sucks other than that. Maybe we're supposed to be pushing the envelope, the tip of the spear. Maybe you and I are supposed to be exposing ourselves to risk, but we cower in the corner like Linus in his little vapid blanket trying to wrap himself to be safe. Maybe at some level you and I go, yeah, I'm guilty. Guilty right here. I'm guilty of that. And subconsciously we go, yeah, but he's more guilty. You've seen that commercial on TV where the dad is traveling. The dad is traveling through TSA, going through the checkout, and the TSA agent says, have a nice trip or have a nice vacation. And the guy says, you too. And the TSA agent goes, wait a minute. Me too. I'm not going on vacation. I'm working here. And his daughter goes, I can't even believe you said that, Dad. And his wife goes, I don't even know you. Who would say you too? And then the other person in line goes, I don't even want to go on vacation now. I can't believe the guy would say it. And what I found fascinating about this commercial is the guy turns and says, well, she's got to spray aerosol. Are we allowed to spray aerosol cans? I don't even know, right? I use them, 2 cans, anytime I can afford it, spraying it straight at the sun, so I can contribute to global warming hysteria. Chicken Littles, right? Spray it right at the sun. I don't even know if we're allowed to, is aerosol still a thing? But in any event, the guy goes to throw his wife under the bus and go, oh, you think I'm the bad guy? She's got 8 ounces of shampoo. And I thought, that's exactly what we do by piling on Russell Brand or Senator, what did I say his name? Menendez. We go, oh, guilty, because we feel guilty about not challenging ourselves. We feel guilty that we've become brittle brains atop balsa wood spines, wrapping ourselves in bubble wrap du jour to make sure that Mother Nature, however you call it, man-made or Mother Nature, atrocity, trauma, risk, all the incoming, we try to bubble wrap ourselves in protection. And maybe it's a part of us that goes, Yeah, you should feel guilty about that because you're not growing mentally or physically if that's what you do. And like the guy in the commercial, he goes, well, she's got a bottle that's oversized. Oh, and this guy here's not wearing any socks. Right? It was a great commercial. And I started laughing, and probably everyone's sitting around me is going, wait a minute, Brian's watching TV and a commercial, which reminds me of the Apple commercial. We'll talk about that next week. That'll be a part of why I'm thinking of filing a lawsuit against Apple. Well, we'll get to that next week, I think. But more importantly, in that commercial, the guy's busy trying to throw everybody else under the bus because he got popped. Maybe that's like you and me. Maybe we feel so guilty about not putting ourselves through our natural paces, not extending our boundaries, not pushing the tip of the spear in our own lives. I don't know, call me crazy, maybe that's it. But because we want to target someone else, we do that because we'd rather be blaming them for doing something wrong than having to look in the mirror and admit to ourselves we're lazy sacks. Worried about A, worried about B, worried about, oh, little me, the sky is falling. What if at some level we feel guilty about that? And because of that, we want to kick other people while they're down. Oh, he's a lot more guilty than I am. You should look at him. Oh, this guy, he's not wearing socks. I love that commercial. I don't even know who they were, what it was for. I don't even know what the commercial was for, but the guy trying to throw everybody else under the bus so as to cover his own sense of guilt and shame, right? He's throwing everybody else under the bus. So I think the cure for that might be looking in the mirror and going, yeah, Brian is absolutely nuts. However, let's suppose for just a second he might be onto something. There's a little thread in the tapestry that he's kind of pulled now, right? Just this, it's snagged, just a little thread, and he's pulling it. So before it unravels all, as I mentioned earlier, of Linus and our puny little blanket, before it unravels the entire blanket, am I guilty of going too easy on myself in life? Not experiencing my natural resources, my buried logic, my neural savvy, being my own cognitive bodyguard. I'm triggered all the time, no matter what people say. I can't take it anymore. I'm triggered. I'm woke. Why are you doing this to me? What? Maybe because we think we're overly sensitive. Oh, well, they said some nasty things about me. Get in line, brother. The nasty things they say about me, well, welcome to the jungle. Isn't that how they, Axel said it in the song, Welcome to the Jungle? Maybe that's what you and I feel guilty for. So the reason that we can point the other finger and go, we don't need a jury, he's guilty. Look at him. Put him into the locks where his head and his hands are, right? Throw him into the water with that big ball. It's like a massive witch hunt. Why are we such fans of a massive witch hunt? Because if I can distract you to look over there, I don't have to look in the mirror and say that I'm a timid, scared, lazy piece of crap. And that maybe I don't have what I want in my life because I don't recognize my all-natural abilities. I don't know. That's what I'm thinking. All right. So I want to get, I do it all the time. I need to thank Nutrient Survival. You got to go to nutrientsurvival.com. Check out their full line of emergency preparedness foods. Good for your body, good for your brain, special ops grade nutrition. If it's good enough for the guys, right? If it's good enough for the special ops guys, it's guys and gals. It's good enough for you and me. And of course, Firebugs at Firebugs, BUGGZ.com. Whenever we want to treat the kids, we just had s'mores the other night using our Firebugs fishing poles, and it's just a thrill for the whole family. So check them out at Firebugs.com. Thank you also very much for sponsoring our show. All right, Wayne tells me I've got less than a minute, so we got to cue this so we keep to our 20-minute victory. Here's what I would say before I go. Look into the mirror. Stare there. Into the mirror. Long enough for your mirror to stare back to you. Is it possible that I'm onto something? Maybe we're busy finding guilt in other people because it prevents us from having to contemplate the guilt directed at ourselves when we look in the mirror. All right, we're out of here. Have an absolutely fantastic weekend. Don't forget, next week we're talking about why I'm suing Apple. You know, from the phones, not the fruit, the phone company. Why I'm thinking of launching a lawsuit on Apple. All right, we are out of here. Good night, everybody.